Hello, this is our video on evaporation and boiling. In this lesson, we're going to be doing three things. We're going to be comparing evaporation and boiling. We're going to be explaining the observed temperature change in a liquid during evaporation. And we're going to be practicing using models and analogies to explain our observations. Remember to use the pause button as you go through and bring any questions to the next lesson or add them onto the question document. So at the end of the previous lesson, I asked you to compare evaporation and boiling, and I suggested that you did it by way of a Venn diagram. So here we've got evaporation, and here we've got boiling, and the things they have in common could go in here, and the things that are different, we can put in these other areas here. Now, I want you to have a look at what you've already got in this diagram, what you came up with before the lesson. If you haven't already done that, do that now, but press pause and get your current version of this Venn diagram up before we move on further. So I've put together some different things for you to think about here to get you thinking and to help with this comparison. First of all, in the boiling section, we're going to look at the graph that we've been looking at previously that shows what happens to the temperature of a liquid, of a solid such as ice as it's heated over time against temperature. And if we look at the solid melting into a liquid, and if we look at the liquid boiling and turning into a gas, we can see that there is no temperature change while the liquid is boiling and becoming a gas. So that's our first thing to think about and to compare. But if we now have a little look at this video over here, I've got two videos here and here, and what I've got on this bit of kitchen towel, I put some nail varnish remover, and I've used nail varnish remover because it evaporates quite quickly at room temperature. And this is just a thermometer, like a cooking thermometer I've got at home, and I've got a timer down here. And so I've put this on now. It's on a countdown timer. It doesn't start quite from the beginning, but you can see here at the start of the video, the temperature is 14.1 degrees C, and this is evaporating. Look what happens when it evaporates. So it's in time lapse, so you can see the time's going quite quickly. But look is what's happening to the temperature. It's been 1 second and it's dropped from 14 degrees to 4.5 degrees, and then this was the next video, so you can see there's a little gap as it went from 4.5 to 4.2. But if I play this one here, still dropping 3.5. So I think actually this is in minutes, so this is saying we've gone from 9 minutes down to 4 minutes. So within 5 minutes it's dropped 10 degrees C, and that is because it's evaporating. So when a liquid is evaporating into a liquid, the temperature decreases, but when a liquid is boiling into a gas, there is no change in temperature. So that's one difference between the two. The next thing I wanted to show you was have a little think about which part of the liquid is evaporating or boiling. So if you left a basin of water or a solution in a windowsill and you left it for a week, where on that liquid would the gas particles come from? And now if we have a little look at boiling here, so this is just some water boiling in a pan, and if we watch this here, you can see there's bubbles starting to form in the bottom, and the bubbles then rise up and come to the surface as it boils more and more and more, and it gets more and more rigorous as it gets going. But the gas is formed within the liquid and then rises to the surface. So this is another difference. So press pause on the video now and have another go at comparing evaporation and boiling. And when you think you've thought as long and hard as you can and you can't think of anything else to compare about evaporation and boiling, press play and carry on with the video. Right, so we're about to go through the answers to the Venn diagram. Have your Venn diagram ready. And here we are. So on this one, we've actually got boiling and evaporation the other way around from the previous diagrams. So don't get yourselves confused that. So what do they have in common? First of all, they're both terms to describe a liquid turning into a gas. But if we look at what's different about them, boiling, during boiling, as we said, the temperature remains constant. But during evaporation, the temperature of the liquid decreases, as we saw in those previous videos. If we look at where the change of state is occurring, in boiling, it occurs throughout the liquid. So all through the liquid you can get those gas bubbles developing. Whereas with evaporation, it's only the particles on the surface of the liquid that turn into a gas. If we look at other bits, if you're going to boil something, you have to put energy into that system. The pan was only boiling because the hob was on, whereas with evaporation, you don't have to add energy into the system. You can just leave it on a windowsill. It takes quite a while, but you can. But it's only the particles with the highest energy that are released, and we'll be talking about that in more detail over the next bits of the tutorial. And then finally, what temperature do boiling and evaporation happen at? Well, boiling only occurs at the boiling point of that substance. So, for example, water boils at 100 degrees C. It doesn't boil at 70 degrees C, but if you look at what temperature water can evaporate at, it could occur at any temperature up to the boiling point. So some things there to think about, and let's now have a little look at evaporation in more detail. So quite an important thing to grasp here. Why does the temperature of a liquid decrease during evaporation? Because a lot of people aren't happy with this idea at all. So I'm going to show you the video I made again. So we've got just a kitchen thermometer. It's reading 14.1 at the beginning. It's got a piece of kitchen towel with nail polish remover put on the kitchen towel, and nail polish remover will evaporate at room temperature. So we'll be able to see what happens to the temperature during evaporation. This timer here is like a 15-minute countdown timer, and I did it on a time-lapse video, so it didn't take up as much time. So if we press play and we see what happens as the time starts counting down, you can see the temperature falling really clearly. There is no doubt that the temperature of this liquid is decreasing during evaporation, and the same happens with water. If you leave a bowl of water to evaporate, the temperature of that liquid will decrease during evaporation. But the more important question is, why does the temperature of the liquid decrease during evaporation? And that's what we're going to look at next. So we're actually going to look at this one through the process of an analogy to start with. Imagine a world pre-lockdown where people happily got to sit their physics GCSE exams. It's a beautiful world. And here we've got all the students, and they're happily sitting, not socially distancing, and sitting their physics GCSE. Now, it turns out that they all get different grades. So if you imagine a room full of like 150 people, they're all going to get different grades, and there's going to be a mix of grades. So some students will get A stars, and some students will get A's, and some B's, and some C's, and some D's. So there's this whole range of different grades across the whole year group. So different students have got different grades in their physics paper. And if I plotted a graph of this, so here I've got 0% to 100% on the physics paper, and here I've got 0 up to, let's say 50 pupils up here. We would get a distribution that looked like this, and we'd be able to say that a very small number of pupils, nearly 0, get no marks in the physics paper, and a very small number of pupils get 100% in the physics paper, but the most number of pupils, the biggest number of pupils, get middle marks. Okay, so we've got this distribution here where a small number get a very low mark, a small number get a very high mark, but most students get the middle mark. Now imagine if the top students that got the A star in the physics GCSE were given a scholarship to a special physics college, and so they left the school that they were at and they went to special physics college. What would happen to the average mark of the year group in physics if that happened? So we offer the top students a scholarship to another school and they leave. What is now going to happen to the average mark of the year group that remains in physics? This is a really important question. This analogy is going to help us answer, why does the temperature of a liquid decrease during evaporation? So if I'm going to show this on the graph, the effect of the scholarship, imagine I draw a little dashed line here, and every student that gets above, or what's this going to be, probably about 90% in their physics paper, they all get a scholarship to go to the special physics college, and they all leave. So if we imagine that all of these students here didn't go to the school anymore, what would happen to the average mark of these remaining students here? And the obvious answer is the average mark is going to go down. So let's look at how this is useful in thinking about evaporation. So I've got here, you can see I've done my particle diagram of a liquid. The particles are touching, but they're not in neat rows and columns. And then here, some of them have escaped and have turned into a gas because they've got enough energy. So there's a couple of really important things we have to remember. In a liquid, all the particles have a different amount of energy. So this particle has a different amount of energy from this particle, has a different amount of energy from this particle, and so on, okay? Only the particles with the highest energy are able to evaporate from the liquid and escape, okay? So these particles here had the highest energy, higher than these remaining ones here. So this is a little bit like the analogy. If the particles with the highest energy leave, what happens to the average energy of the remaining particles? And the answer is it's going to go down. And guess what? The average energy of the particles is a measure of temperature. So if the particles with the highest energy leave and the average energy of the particles in the liquid then goes down, the temperature of the liquid is going to go down. And you know, there's lots of different ways you could think about this. You could imagine a sort of a tray of marbles, and the marbles represent the particles in the liquid, and you sort of shake the tray lightly. Not all of the marbles are going to jump out, just the ones with the highest energy. They'll jump out and they'll become the gas. So hopefully that has helped us. By now, you should be happy comparing the different characteristics of evaporation and boiling, and you should be really confident with the idea that they are actually completely different processes, even though probably prior to this lesson you've used the words interchangeably and never thought about it much before. We also need to make sure that you're happy explaining why the temperature in a liquid decreases during evaporation. And we should have gained experience in using models and analogies to explain our own observations about evaporation and boiling. Bring any questions you have to the next lesson or put them on the question document, and we will see you soon.